Toffee has quickly become one of my favorite villains in any show that I've watched recently, and it's not hard to see why. He has a cool design, is very smart and calculative, and likely has a ton of backstory that we have yet to learn about. So today I'm going to try and uncover as many secrets about his past as I can. Although he only has been in a few episodes so far, he's most likely still out there with a plan for revenge. In the Season 1 finale, Star's wand explodes. It is unknown who survived the blast, and it is possible Toffee is dead. But since he was smirking right before the explosion, I am betting he somehow managed not to get blown to bits. Or if he did, he has a way to revive himself. While we do not know all that much about Toffee, we do know that he has some connection to the royal family, and it was their magic that had previously ruined his plans. I discussed his potential plans in my last theory video, and now it's time to turn to his past and speculate on what may have happened to him. I already mentioned one of my major points for this theory. Toffee had a connection to the royal family. So what was this connection exactly? He may have been just some sort of advisor or assistant to them. Or one other cool possibility is that he was to Queen Butterfly as to what Marco is to Star. So in other words, he was the companion of the Queen, and went on adventures with her while she had the wand. Perhaps he even had feelings for her. But no matter the means he got to know the royal family, he most likely learned all about their magic, and eventually tried to take advantage of them through what he learned. After all, how else would he know the first spell Star learned? The whispering spell that could destroy the wand. Well, actually it is possible that he just did his research. In Munipendence Day, he's seen reading a book on Muni and the wand. But I would definitely prefer him to have had a close connection to the Butterfly family rather than just vaguely knowing them. But what we do know is that he has in fact met the royal family. This was confirmed by Toffee's voice actor, Michael C. Hall. But what he also confirms is that he has never met Star before.
Toffee's never met Star, but he has a history with her family.
Meaning that the theories that believe he knew Star when she was very young are not correct. Of course, that changes in Storm the Castle when he meets her for the first time, but it is curious to see the way he acts towards her if he had never talked to her prior. He is not hostile at all, and even acts much gentler with her than he did with Marco. So perhaps just because he knows who she is explains his attitudes towards Star. Now, no conclusion can be made to decide if he was always evil and was hiding his true intentions for a long time, or if he was ever good. Maybe when he was close to the Queen he was good, but then he wanted more power for himself, which corrupted him. Of course, that's all just speculation. But as we know, he was eventually stopped. And the way he was possibly stopped brings me to another point. What is up with Toffee's missing finger? There are three options that seem viable. One possibility is that it was torn off by a very powerful spell, most likely done by Queen Moon, Star's mom. And since it was so powerful, he was unable to grow it back. This was probably when he was thrown out, and after losing his finger he was told to never come near the royal family again. Or it could have been during the Great Monster Massacre. While Star is reenacting this scene, Toffee is acting very tense. Look at how he moves his hand with the finger missing. So it could have been lost during the battle, and a very powerful attack may have prevented it from growing back. This would make him very old, so this may not be the case. Or he purposely cut off his own finger and is hiding it somewhere so he can regrow the rest of his body when needed. If the last option that I mentioned is actually what happened, then this is probably the way he survived when the wand exploded. So, that is some possible information about his past with the Butterfly family, how he lost his finger, and finally how he may have survived the wand explosion. But there is still so much that will probably be learned about him in the future, so I can't wait to see what happens in Season 2. Also, there is one thing I need to add. This does not have much to do with this theory, but this piece of evidence goes really well with my last theory, and I felt the need to add it here. So basically, going over all of Toffee's actions in Storm the Castle, it becomes apparent that he does several strange things. First of all, he acts really weird. From the way he treats Marco to the way he looks scared and then strangely happy in a second, he's really all over the place, what makes it difficult to see his true motives. But one thing that stood out in particular to me was Toffee removing his jacket and putting it on the mirror while looking at Marco. He later takes off his tie and puts it on the mirror as well. Now this would obviously bring up the question of why he's taking his clothes off in front of the enemy, and he obviously isn't one to do hand-to-hand combat where his clothes would weigh him down. But thinking about it now, I'm pretty sure he did this to prove a point. And that point was to show Marco who he needed to become. The one who leads the monsters into battle against the Munians. He was subconsciously telling Marco what he must do. Marco is even the one to dust off the mirror after the explosion, and he stands right in front of it, almost to show what is soon to come. So it is clear that Toffee wants Marco to do something for him, and I talked about what Toffee ultimately wants in my last theory, so be sure to check that out if you have not already. That was a pretty big piece of evidence that I left out, and it gives more proof that Marco's connection to monsters will grow. And that's all I have for this theory video. Thank you for watching, and I would like to thank our patrons from Patreon. There are some pretty cool rewards for donating to help the show, so definitely check it out. Also check out our other videos, and don't forget to subscribe for more theory videos like this. It's because of you guys, our subscribers, that I've decided to make another Star vs. the Forces of Evil theory video. So thank you so much for motivating me to do so.